Spoiler alert. Our intention on the Slashers and Screamers podcast is to bring you an entertaining escape from your workday or commute. But as we dive into your and our favorite horror flicks of all time, that entails spoiling scenes and endings to movies that you may not have seen. If this is important to you, we do advise you pause this podcast now and watch the film from this episode and come back to us. We're waiting.
A homicide detective and an anthropologist try to destroy a South American lizard-like god who's on a people-eating rampage in a Chicago museum. Nobody's Abdullah Oblongaba is safe unless you're Tom Sizemore. Let's watch The Relic.
You're going to Camp Blood, ain't you?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
When I come back again.
All out of bubblegum.
Start again first.
Basement call. It's coming from inside the house.
Hello, reptilians, and welcome back for another episode of Slashers and Screamers, a presentation of Slasher Sports on slashersports.com. And thank you, as always, for joining us on this perilous journey. Now, I'm not going to beat around the bush any longer, so let me go ahead and introduce my co-host. He won the first round of the classic Milton Bradley game Crack the Case, and he chose today's film subject for us to enjoy. He is the Godfather of Droll James Brown.
I like lizards
I know you like
and
lizards,
creature
James.
movies.
A creature is right up your alley.
That's right. I'm here to talk about it. I watched the right movie.
And that voice is, well, you'll know her. If this podcast ever became a movie, she'd be the one waking up in bed screaming just before the credits rolled. She is Final Girl Casey.
Hey.
Hello. How are
I
you?
also watched the right movie.
Well, that's good. That means we are 3 for 3 so far. So let's get to number 4. The best things happen when you live outside your comfort zone, and he makes us all uncomfortable. He's the menace from Memphis, Rick Sims. Ricky.
What's up, man?
Well, that was underwhelming. Let's try that again. He's the Memphis Menace. That's not what I said, is it? He's the menace from Memphis, Rick Sims. Ricky.
What's up, Memphis, man?
That's more like it. Golly, Rick, this isn't the most stacked cast in the world, but sometimes you can still win the World Series with the guys that can just get on base, right? So let's get Rick's rundown out of the way quick and early. Tell us what kind of dance we're getting into and who's playing the music.
All right, so we did The Relic from 1997. Release date January 10th of 97. It's a horror mystery sci-fi. Tagline is the next evolution in terror. Budget was $40 million estimated. Only grossed $33,956,000. Locations: Field Museum of Natural History, Chicago; San Jose, California; LA, California. Filming October 16th, 95 to February 21st, 1996. Rated R for get this, monster violence, gore, and language. Runtime 110 minutes. Really quick trivia. The book takes place in the New York Museum of Natural History, not in Chicago. Believe it or not, Harrison Ford was director Peter Hyam's first choice for the lead role of Vincent d'Agosta. And some of the actors and actresses: Penelope Ann Miller, who was Dr. Margot Green. She also starred in Carlito's Way and The Shadow as Margot Lane. Tom Sizemore, who was Lieutenant Vincent d'Acosta, starred in Saving Private Ryan, Black Hawk Down. Robert Lesser, who was Mayor Robert Owen, starred in Oscar and Godzilla 1998 and the original Die Hard. Linda Hunt, who was Dr. Ann Cuthbert. A lot of people will know her from NCIS Los Angeles. She was also in Kindergarten Cop. She was also in the voice of Willow in Pocahontas. James Whitmore, Dr. Albert Frock, the guy in the wheelchair. He was in Shawshank Redemption, and he was in an old 50s movie called Them that had killer ants. Chai Mo Lo, Dr. Greg Lee. He starred in everything. He's been in Nip Tuck. He's been in Kindergarten Cop. He's been in Malcolm in the Middle. He's been in NYPD Blue. He's been in Married with Children. So a lot of TV shows he's had really small and credited roles in. But yeah, man, that's my rundown.
Well, it sounds like they just basically scraped up the cast of Kindergarten Cop and threw him in a creature feature, and I'm okay
Pretty
with
much.
that.
Yeah.
I'm completely okay with that. Well, before we get into this thing, you guys know what time it is. You absolutely know. Before we get into this creature feature, a while back, cleaning up my storage, I stumbled across this board game. Technically, there's no board, but whatever. It's a game of mystery, murder, lust, betrayal, James.
Boulder Dash.
Well, no, but close. It is Milton Bradley's Crack the Case, and you may already know the detective who first solves the crime gets to choose the film we review on the next episode of Slashers and Screamers. So to go over the rules real quick, this is a lot like headbands. Everybody knows what headbands is, but except, we're not wearing headbands. We've got a case in front of us, and our investigators, that would be Casey, Rick, and James, they get to ask me, the narrator, the moderator, questions, but of course they have to be yes or no questions. Actually, in headbands is yes or no, but here we have a few other responses. I can get maybe some clarification. Yes and no. So maybe what you've asked is correct, but it's also not correct. Maybe you've worded it a certain way to make it so. Irrelevant. So if the question has nothing to do with the case, I can go ahead and get you on the right track by telling you that it doesn't matter. I don't know, meaning that the facts aren't in the case, so it's probably irrelevant too. And then define what you mean by it and get some clarification on your questions. And then rephrase your question. If I think you're on the right track, and maybe rephrasing your question would clarify it a little bit, I can get that from you as well. So let's jump into this thing, guys. We've got a case titled Reno No-No. All right, so Sam is found dead in the back alley of the Reno Casino where he worked as a croupier. You guys know what a croupier is? It's kind of like a dealer, but for crap. So he's the guy
It's small pancake.
that is a crepe, but no. Crepes are good though, aren't they, James?
Yeah, I like them pretty good.
They're just little bitty pancakes. Well, so Sam's working as a croupier, someone who is basically like a dealer, but for craps.
Croupier.
Yeah, croupier. So police bring in Paula, his singer girlfriend, for questioning. She says, "You got nothing on me," she indignantly tells the officer. "I was singing at a private party when Sam was killed. I got witnesses." "I know," replied the officer, "but we found this in your garbage." What was the this the officer held in his hand? Who killed Sam and how? So,
She sounds like...
oh, of course. You know what? Because Casey won last week, she gets to kick off this week's with a questioning. So Casey, and then Rick, and then James. Casey first. I feel like this one's a little tougher.
Yeah.
If I'm
trying
being
to figure
honest
out
about
where
it.
to start.
When I read the story, knowing that you got basically a dice dealer at a casino and a singer girlfriend, and then there's a mystery item that incriminates her even though she wasn't there, we got quite a mystery. But you guys are smart. You know what time it is.
Does the fact that is the fact that he works at a casino relevant to how he died?
Yes.
Okay.
Rick?
Who's next, James or Rick?
Does it matter? Or no, wait. Is she a specific... Let me rephrase that. Does she sing a specific type of music?
That is irrelevant. I wrote my phone and throw that offside. Shut it, James. Ask your question.
Let's see here. My question would be, what was in the trash can? A valet parking ticket. Is a valet parking ticket in the trash can?
No, it is not. Casey, your question. I'm going to give the first clue after round 3, by the way, of questions.
How many clues are there?
There are 2.
Is it 2 every time?
Mm-hmm. But a set of master detectives like you wouldn't need them.
Okay, well, go ahead and lower those expectations.
They
Even
couldn't
Sherlock-
possibly be any lower.
Even Sherlock Holmes needs a clue.
That's true. That's a fair point. Is what they found in Paula's trash can relevant to the casino itself?
Yes. Rick?
Did they find alcohol in the trash can?
No. James?
They find chips from the casino in the trash can.
No. For about 5 seconds there, I just knowing because it's you, I thought you meant like some Ruffles or some Pringles.
Well, that's what I meant.
Well, in that case, yes.
No chips. Potato chips.
There are no potato chips nor poker
Wow,
chips.
potato chips.
There are neither potato chips nor gambling chips in the trash can.
These Ruffles are $50 or $25. There's sour cream and onion.
Those would be the hundreds, James. Casey, round 3, first question.
Is that the answers? Hello.
Only Billy.
Was what they found in the trash can the murder weapon?
No.
Okay.
Rick?
Billy almost choked out on us, y'all.
Started thinking about James's question and those potato chips and how he'll come over for poker night and we'll just throw anything on the table and use them as chips. Bill, I don't have any chips left, but I got these Lay's potato chips.
I found a peanut one time on the couch and used it for $1 million.
Was the singer employed at the casino?
That's irrelevant. The story does say that she was singing at a private party. She could have been employed by that casino and just been singing elsewhere, but that part is irrelevant.
Okay.
JB?
Lady in red. Let's see here. Where's my clue at, Bill?
It comes after your question because you're third in the questioning line.
Damn it.
Foiled again.
I don't know. Where was this guy laying? In the alley? In the back alley? Did he get hit in the head?
Casey?
Was he hit in the head with something?
Casey, your question, but first, clue number 1. Sam gambled with characters of questionable moral.
Oh, I know the answer.
Of course you...
Should I let James go ahead?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Casey, this is your world. We're just living in it.
Did he die because someone felt cheated at a craps game?
Yes.
So, no, I won't guess anything. I'll hold off.
Okay. Rick?
Were the questionable characters the Mafia?
I don't know. That could also be irrelevant. We just know that they were of questionable moral. And who are you to say that the Mafia is of questionable moral? First of all.
This is fiction.
Oh, okay. Let's make that very clear. So we are not here to upset anyone in any level of power.
It's all hypothetical here.
There you go. There's some very fine people in the Mafia. James, your question. Oh, you had it solved 2 minutes ago.
Well, now I don't know. Who or what? So
you're gonna tell me.
You're telling me they found him in the back of the alley, dead. All right, I know who did it. Was he killed by? Did Paula pay somebody to have him killed?
No.
You can go ahead and say yeah.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yes
Irrelevant,
and no.
sir. Irrelevant. You can't handle the truth.
Clue number 2.
Proceed.
Sam thought he was on a roll until his gambling buddies discovered his secret. Casey, your question.
What's the secret?
Was he killed because he got caught cheating?
Yes.
So he was killed by one of his gambling buddies who caught him, I guess?
No.
Yes.
Now I know the answer.
Well, the mystery here is what was the officer held in his hand, which, the item in the garbage can. Who killed Sam and how? So the who we know, those, unscrupulous characters who are doing the gambling. How?
Wait, what? How am I supposed to figure that out with them 2 clues? He was gambling with somebody.
The first clue kind of tells you that, though, James. Sam gambled with characters of questionable moral.
But it ain't going no clue to how he got killed, what he got killed with. He got killed with anything.
Well, yeah, it doesn't. It's not asking for a murder weapon. Just how. I mean, whether it's a hammer, a rake, or a fucking club. If they beat him to death, they beat him to death.
Club sandwich.
Well, either way, Casey's got this much. What we need to know right now to solve this clue and to determine who wins this week of Crack the Case is what is the this and the officer held in his hand.
They got out of the trash can.
I believe this is now Casey's turn to either solve or Rick's question.
I think it's Rick's question.
Rick's question. I hope that was an idea going off in Rick's head.
That's what that was. Pay no mind.
Rick, you're on mute.
Oh,
Look
sorry.
within yourself, Rick. Find the answer.
Okay, so the weapon or whatever was used to kill them.
No, we determined that we don't need the weapon. We need to know what was found in the garbage can.
Okay.
That told the
So,
cops
the
that Paula was the
It was
blame.
in the garbage can.
I don't know. Drugs? I don't know.
Incorrect or no. James?
All right, so let me talk this out. So whatever old Officer Dingle found in the trash can is linking Paula to her being at that casino. So it would have to be something that you could pick up that says, "Hey, this is this from this casino." Now let my mind work. Was it a book of matches?
It was not.
God.
he had it. He had it. He's been playing L.A. Noire. He's been watching Dick Tracy, but he didn't have it. Casey, what'd they find in that trash can?
Trying to think of other like casino-y things. We already guessed chips in the trash can. We already guessed matches.
It's got to be something complimentary.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of. What they would. Ooh, a deck of cards? Can't you get cards at a?
You can get cards at a casino.
But it's
They're all over
not.
the place, but no.
No, you can get like I know you can, but no. Okay.
But no. Ricky, the Memphis Menace, I know you've got this, man. Sam was killed by these unscrupulous characters because he got caught cheating at craps. What was in that damn trash can?
Like fake money.
No. James?
Let
Oh,
me tell you, there was a set of dice in that trash can.
well, no. He had the dice. He had the dice with him at the casino, James.
Well, there's something that Paula threw away that she was at that casino.
Casey, would you guys say that it's fair that if we don't get it in 2 more rounds, that the dealer, moi, wins this round and gets to choose next week?
I would say that's fair. Yeah.
2 rounds? All right.
It's not
Get
fair
after
at
it.
all.
Final girl Casey, get after it. Final girl Casey has spoken.
My guess was also dice. So.
He forgot his dice at home, so they killed him because they wanted to bet.
No, she got dice at the casino and threw them away.
Apparently not, James. But we were on the same track.
It's probably a business card or something. I got a business card at the front desk.
Casinos are known for many front desks. Casey, your question?
Casinos at front desk where you get your chips at.
Get at the side parlor.
Oh.
The chip parlor. You've never been to a casino, James. You went to the buffet at the casino.
I've been to a casino before.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
French Lick, Indiana, home of Larry Bird. You're
Larry
welcome.
Legend. Larry Legend. Casey, your question.
Yeah, I'm still kicking it around. Like, what else a casino would give you? All I can think of is like matches was a good guess. It is a good guess. What else would you get from a place? Like a receipt? Is it a receipt?
She said receipt, Bill.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a receipt. The people
Would you
who
like
did
to
it are
solve?
the unscrupulous characters.
I've got it now.
Because he was. No, I'm solving it. They found a receipt. The people who did it are the unscrupulous characters because he was cheating, and they killed him by.
We ain't got to know how they killed him.
Don't we?
Well, what was the receipt, though? What was the receipt?
Oh,
Please be more specific.
Pacific. Be more Pacific.
what was the receipt for? I guess you don't get a
Hold
receipt
up on
when
a
you.
piddle stool.
I guess you don't get a receipt when you hire a hit, huh?
I always give receipt.
Oh, cool.
I mean,
Keep that
how
in mind
else am
for
I
when
going to get
hire
hired,
you.
later?
True, you gotta have your references.
Yeah.
Receipt was for like a drink or something?
Rick. your
No,
question.
boo.
The receipt was for
Yahtzee.
an all-you-can-eat buffet.
James, I know your ears perked up with that, but no, your question, James.
Is it a receipt for her jacket, her coat, a coat check?
God damn it. No, James. No. Do I win this, or is it one more round?
One more round.
Okay.
This is
James, I'm sorry.
ridiculous.
This is ridiculous.
There's no receipt for anything at a casino.
Is it a receipt
it
for
was-
buying chips?
No, Rick.
You don't
Is
so they
the
get to you.
for the hotel room? I don't know.
No, James. It's on the line, buddy.
So much pressure. Receipt. Was it a receipt for a drink?
Already been said. But no. Way to strike out looking, James. Ha! Victory is mine, finally. Investigators must discover that Paula secretly slipped Sam loaded dice, causing his unscrupulous customers to accuse him of cheating and beat him to death. The receipt was for the loaded dice that she bought. He didn't know that he was carrying. When they found out, they beat his ass to death with a baseball bat, probably. Like the Bear.
That's crappy.
A baseball bat like you're always carrying in Reno.
How you going? You can't buy no loaded dice at a casino.
They didn't say that it was at a casino. You're hung on the receipt coming from the casino, James. The receipt.
How else they gonna pin her to the casino?
Because it was her purchase.
From the casino.
It was her purchase with her credit card. James, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I want you to understand something, James. Next week's movie.
Boulder Dash.
It's gonna be something that I choose, sir. And I'll let you all know at the end of this fucking podcast. You mealy-mouthed bastards.
Friday the 19th.
Good God, no. Because I'm saving that for later. For an actual Friday the 13th. And it's going to be part 2. Absolutely.
I think it's always good to start the podcast on a really hostile note.
Well, you know what? It was hostile. It was hostile when James picked up the phone and said hello. All right?
Technically, James was singing the Jeopardy theme song for about 20 minutes before you could hear us.
Yeah, we did have some technical difficulties, but they're worked out now, okay? And we're on pace right now.
You probably can't hear me at all. You're probably just making stuff up.
I can't. I'm reading your lips on this Skype call. Well, guys, we've got a pretty good cast here of some under-the-radar guys and gals. First and foremost, Rick, you already said Penelope Ann Miller. Her first horror flick, but she wanted this role because she was inspired by director Peter Hyams' desire to have a strong, smart female lead. And this is per IMDb. Tom Sizemore, not a lot of lead roles, really solid though, kind of like a Bill Hurt from The Village. You can always depend on him. But he wanted the role because he got to play the male lead, and he had the responsibility of pushing the narrative forward. Linda Hunt, cute little old lady. I'm not gonna lie, I love Linda Hunt. The first movie I ever saw her in was this Richard Grieco flick called If Looks Could Kill. Do you guys remember that one?
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, James, I knew you would, man, because this thing I believe was like made for TV, not like primetime TV. It might have been like straight to HBO kind of a situation. Rick, you remember that one? You're kind of old.
No, honestly, I've heard the name. I don't remember it at all, though.
So, like, in this one, Richard Grieco, he's a high school senior, I think. And, of course, he's probably mid-30s at this time. I don't know. But he's in summer school. I think he's got to make up a French class to graduate, right? So part of that makeup is to take a class trip to France. And I don't know what kind of fucking summer school sends you to France. But on said trip, he's mistaken for a spy by the same name, who ironically is played by Roger Daltrey of The Hoop. But it was made for TV, but, Grieco was kind of a budding heartthrob straight off of... Huh?
I'm saying it's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie, but what I'm saying is it didn't. There was no release in theater.
Oh.
Yeah. It definitely didn't go to theaters, but he was straight off of 21 Jump Street at the time, so this was kind of his coming out, which there wasn't much of a coming out because he was whatever. Another kind of low-key favorite of mine in this one, I guess because of my youth or whatever, but Clayton Rohner is in this movie, and if you don't know the name, he played Rick in Just One of the Guys. Now, Casey, that seems like a movie that you would have seen.
Nope.
Okay. Well,
I live to disappoint you.
Well, you know what? You're living right because it happens often. James, you probably remember Just One of the Guys.
I've seen that movie where that girl dresses up like a guy.
Exactly. So I believe it. If I'm not mistaken, her name is Joyce Heiser. She was kind of a big deal.
Boyfriend.
What'd you say?
The guy in this movie plays her boyfriend.
Well, just plays the friend throughout the movie, and at the end of the movie, they kind of hook up. Spoiler alert. But yeah, Joyce Heiser says how life is so much easier for guys. All they got to do is whatever, and so she decides to dress up as a guy, cut her hair, fools everybody, and lots of hijinks. But fantastic flick. But when we join this story, the Relic. Let's kick this thing off. We're dropped into an indigenous tribal ceremony or gathering, but there's a random white dude there taking pics for his IG, probably. I don't know. But one of the elders is boiling up some of that Bryce Dallas Howard bathwater soup I ordered last week, But we see, you'd have some, but believe me, you would. But we see this figure, a statue, a relic, if you will, of some creature. All right, the random white guy who looks like Indiana Jones. He takes a sip of some of that Bryce Dallas Howard soup, and he's immediately tripping balls, guys. What do you make of this opening scene?
It did give me Indiana Jones vibes, like very much so. That's what I have written here.
Yeah.
I've got one rule, Bill.
What is it?
Never drink hot tea from any indigenous species.
Species? So, I mean, just okay.
Drink hot tea from Aborigine.
These are not the Aborigines. That is a couple of continents away. But
Australia.
Exactly, Rick. Those are in Australia, New Zealand. But I don't know if he's hallucinating or what. But he's approached by this younger indigenous man in some pretty fabulous garb, and he utters the word Cathoga before he really loses his shit. And as the scene ends, we see the statue kind of fading to black we'd seen before. And I'm guessing at this point we're to infer that this statue is the Cathoga. I mean, is that what the vibe you got was?
That's kind of what I had figured, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if it was just like some random creature. I didn't know if that's what we're looking for. I mean, because the trailer clearly... good job, James. The trailer clearly says this is a creature feature, so there's no surprise whatsoever. But, we jump elsewhere to appear, and this is fast forward a little bit where apparently the Titanic is setting sail, or someone's off to Skull Island to capture Kong. I don't know what they're doing. But we're to understand that Indiana Jones here from the first scene is adamant about not wanting a shipment to a museum in Chicago to get to his destination. Of course, I don't know if it's the ship captain or the lead boatswain's mate or whomever, but he's not playing ball, so Indiana Jones stows away. He's frantically searching through the crates in the hull of the vessel and finally finds one going to Chicago, busts it open, and judging from his crying reaction, does not find what he's looking for. He does find some really nice rugs, though.
Beautiful rugs.
They were beautiful. I wanted one of those in my living room. This could have been some really good product placement. I may go to the rug place, next weekend and get me a big rug. I'd have been satisfied with a rug, other than the Relic.
But doesn't the camera cut away to it shows the crates?
Yeah, we do pan over to the crates like 20 feet away, very clearly labeled.
Oh, absolutely. After that fucking captain was really clear about, we got him. We're going to take care of him for you.
Yeah.
Well, after all that trouble trying to stop the Skull Island ship, breaking a ton of crates like Crash Bandicoot, the cargo in question, like you said, right there on the pier, never to be opened by anyone ever, right? Well, enter Tom fucking Sizemore, okay? He's typical 90s, I don't want to say typical 90s detective, because, this is clearly a horror flick, but, he's down on his luck, he's a down on his luck lieutenant who just lost his dog Jerry to his ex in a divorce settlement. But he's complete with trench coats, snarky quips, so yeah, he's a damn good cop.
And he's very superstitious.
Very superstitious. Did you like that?
That was a good one.
You didn't know I could do that, did
Right there on the wall.
you? You didn't know he could do that, did you? You want to keep going, James? We can keep this. That's a 4-minute song. Kill a lot of time.
Lieutenant Sizemore.
Lieutenant Sizemore. Well, he's inheriting a mess, James.
He's picking up no pennies. And his dog. He lost his dog, Bill.
That's the worst part of it all. To hell with the wife. He lost his dog. And it sounds like he loves his dog.
His dog named Jerry. What kind of dog is that, do you think?
You know what? I wrote that down as well. Like, who fucking calls their dog Jerry?
I hope it's a pug.
Jerry. I could see him being a German Shepherd. Probably because there are German Shepherds.
I was to say, is it because there are German Shepherds in the movie?
Yeah, that's just thinking out loud. Yeah. And I'm also thinking about the movie K-9 with Belushi, Or,
That
you
one
know,
I have seen.
Yeah, and like Jerry Lee, he's a German Shepherd, I think. Well, Sizemore is inheriting a mess here. There's a bloody mess aboard the ship. You know, there's no crew to be found, and most importantly, and I'm confused about this, but this is the same ship as, you know, Indiana Jones was stowed away on, right?
Yep.
Right.
Okay, so, like, I was confused about the fact that the crate was left on the pier, you know, the right crate was left on the pier, but everybody's fucking torn to pieces on this ship. I thought this was like a leprechaun situation.
You on a little secret,
Well,
but not just yet.
well, I was thinking this was a leprechaun situation where our creature was in the crate and he was trying to get to it to stop it from being opened or delivered to wherever. And that was just silly me thinking wrong, I guess. But whoever or whatever this crazy killer is, you know, it's not a one and done thing. Calm down, Jane. Down. Not tonight, man.
I'm the leprechaun.
Okay, apparently Rick and Casey are too young for this fucking shit.
No, I know. I know what Leprechaun is. Jennifer Aniston's first.
Yeah,
movie.
but James isn't doing the Leprechaun. James is doing Mike Myers doing Wayne Campbell doing the Leprechaun with the flashlight in his face.
That's what I'm talking about.
God, James, just hush up.
I've seen one of the sequels to Leprechaun, but I don't think I've ever actually seen the first one.
The only one that actually qualifies as horror, I think.
Right.
Well, yeah, the one I saw definitely wasn't what I would call a horror
comedy,
movie.
right?
Yeah, it was pretty stupid.
Right.
It's kind of like Friday the 13th, where they just got campier and campier as it went. It was already an asinine, you know, premise, but they got really silly later on. So, who better to tear limb from limb, though, but some children who want to skip school? It's my preferred demographic if I were a deranged killer. I mean, I'm surprised my kids are alive. I've thought many times about getting a wood chipper or something, and never mind. Back to the film. So we finally meet Dr. Margot Green, a lovely lady, if I may say so, in the running for the Hammer Award. Maybe, maybe not.
Not a lot of competition in this one.
Oh, there's a lot of competition, Casey.
Oh, I am so sorry if Brooks Hatfield from Shawshank Redemption is in the running. She's got a lot to worry about.
Well, she's got something to worry about, and it's because of her attitude, okay? I guess we're led to believe that, you know, Penelope Ann Miller's character here, Dr. Margot Green, is one of those, yeah, she's a doctor, she's brilliant in her work, but maybe she's a little sloppy, unorganized or something in other parts of her life. She's getting dressed on the street. You know, this is how I took it. I don't know.
So you've never done it.
Well, so we have two people, you know, between Lieutenant D'Augusta Sizemore and Dr. Green, who are the best in their field, but have very flawed personal lives, maybe. Not that anything has, specified anything like that for the doctor. So we're at this museum, assuming that it's the one that Indiana Jones wanted to stop from, you know, getting that shipment. And, you know, Dr. Green's got her team of scientists there. She's screaming at a fellow doctor for applying for a grant, which, from my calculation, seems totally fair. So I'm kind of picking up that Dr. Green's a little bit of a bitch.
Yeah, she got mad at that one dude when he was like, "Oh, I'm working on a grant." She's like, "That's mine." He's like, "No, it's not."
I mean, if it was her grant, she would have the money, right?
Right. Yeah.
She's mad because he's already got the money and he's gonna cause all her people to get fired. I'm not justifying it, but that was her excuse.
Was her gerbil?
She didn't call him a gerbil.
Yeah, you really are a gerbil. I'm going to start using that going forward. Could you guys do that as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the four of us doing this, it could really spread.
I think we'll put it out there. It'll really work.
So being the nosy bitch that she is, Dr. Green, probably wanting to get the unfair advantage over her colleagues, goes snooping around in Dr. Whitney's office. Now, Dr. Whitney, after referring to IMDb, is who, you know, I've been referring to as Indiana Jones. So it's good to finally get my shit together on that. But Dr. Green sneaks into Indiana Jones's office, sees the crate that he was frantically searching for on the Skull Island ship at the beginning, but in comes Linda Hunt and James Whitmore, who, may he rest in peace, played Brooks in Shawshank Redemption. I'll always be fond of him for that role, first of all. But
and sad.
And yeah, very sad. But here's where we kind of get the scattered info put back into place. You know, we've jumped around from, you know, Whitney to D'Augusta to Green, and the crates were apparently mixed up in Brazil, never made it onto the ship, but were instead sent to the museum by air freight. And we kind of understand now why he wanted to stop that shipment and why he didn't want it coming especially to the museum in Chicago. But according to Shawshank, the Cathoga came about when a South American tribe who was believed to have been extinct made a deal with the devil to play the guitar real good. No, wrong story. They made a deal to vanquish their enemies, even better than the guitar. Thus, the Cathoga, the son of Satan. And boy, does it have a face that only a father could love. From the little statues and trinkets we've seen, right?
Yeah, it's not like a really enticing thing to look at.
No, and I don't really know what to expect at this point either. I see teeth. I see. Do we see a forked tongue on the statue, on the relic?
I didn't pay that close of attention. My bad.
See, I was trying to get some kind of clarification on what I'm going to be looking for later. I had not seen this film since, I don't know, the 90s when it came out. As a matter of fact, last week when we mentioned it, I think James mentioned the Relic, and I said, doesn't that have Mira Sorvino? I had the complete wrong actress. So it's been a really long time since I saw it. I don't even know what I was thinking of Mira Sorvino being in.
Was I the only one who hadn't seen it before?
No, I never seen it till yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Well, I saw it when it was new, so I may as well have never seen it. James probably puts it, on his TV when he goes to bed.
Just a gentle drifting into sleep with this one.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Sizemore puts me to bed every time.
Well, apparently Dr. Green doesn't like Dr. Jones very much. It says his work is all superstition, no science. But of course we knew that already. She doesn't like anyone. I'm beginning to think she doesn't like anyone in her field. Afraid of a little competition. Maybe. I don't know. Well, the museum's closed. We know that the kids are still there. They're up to no good. Because who doesn't like staying in museums longer than you're supposed to be there?
I do.
Yeah, of course. Well, not until the Ben Stiller flicks, though, right? Did anybody care about museums until then?
Yes.
This movie is basically A Night at the Museum meets Alien.
Pretty much.
Meets Jurassic Park.
Meets Jurassic Park. I'll take that. It's
There's a lot of
heaven.
Jurassic Park vibes to me.
Yeah, the guy.
Don't forget Stephen King.
Oh yeah, and you got to have a little Stephen King thinner in there because of the curse.
Also, though, in my reference to Jurassic Park and Aliens, the superior Alien movie, Stan Winston, who is a television and film makeup effects creator, designed work in The Relic, like the creature design, but also did design for the first 3 Jurassic Park movies and Aliens, as well as first 2 Predator movies as well.
So it's not accidental that we get these vibes.
No, it's not.
That's fantastic. So our first...
I'm proud of us for noticing.
Well, if it was up to me, I wouldn't have been able to pinpoint that.
Chattanooga looked familiar.
You didn't know anything, James.
Chattanooga.
Our first known and witnessed victim. Of course, we didn't see the victims taken out on the ship, but our first witnessed victim is our poor security guard. Not like that at all, as I work in private security myself. But he's just trying to chill out, squash one off while he's on the clock.
Opens up that window.
Yeah, he didn't open the window. So, but guys, he's doing weed, and that's a no-no.
I thought he was going to something else, but I wasn't sure.
Oh no, he was doing weed, Rick.
That was absolutely a weed. But
Well,
also, that
Go ahead.
famously, one of the rules of horror in the movie Scream is you can't do drugs.
Oh yeah, I don't know what rule that is, but it's near the damn top. It's Mount Rushmore rule. Well, we know who's on the scene to investigate. I mean, it's none other than Lieutenant Vincent Big Dick DaGosta. And when he hears that Dr. Green was on duty, DaGosta wants to speak to him.
That's his name, Bill.
That is his name.
It's his legal name. He changed it.
It's his legal name, yes. Thank you, Casey. Casey did the homework. She knows.
Yeah.
Well, DaGosta wants to speak to him, quote unquote, him, Dr. Green.
Sexist.
Sexist bastard. Well, when they finally meet, he gives her the rundown. She's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, she wants to, what she wants to do is above what law enforcement's working on, with the dead guy who works at her museum, because fuck that guy, right? We need to get this place running. When somebody lets her in, she's immediately screaming like she was the one murdered. Guys, she's getting on my fucking nerves at this point, honestly. In fact, they're all on my nerves. Oh, Officer Freddie Fender's body isn't even cold yet. And they're all worried about the exhibit, when they can use the museum again. Like, seriously, I hope the Cathoga butt fucks them all in the mouth at this point.
Whoa. Language.
Chattanooga. Booga.
I don't know Dr. Green could be less likable here. I don't know what she would have to do to be less likable than, like, push an old lady out of her wheelchair. But she's taken every opportunity to shit on anything with Dr. Whitney's name on it. Is that fair? I don't think that's fair.
He could suck. We don't know.
He could, but man, he's out in the field, connecting with the indigenous people, putting in the miles, putting in the investigation. But because he's attached to a little bit of superstition, he ain't shit to Dr. Green. I wanted to make Penelope Ann Miller the Hammer of this film.
Who is if it's not her?
You're just gonna have to wait. Well, when business really starts picking up, though, for me anyways, when they do the autopsy, and there's Freddie Fender's warped body on the table. The doctor's just listing all the ways this guy got completely fucked up. And you see Freddie's head just laying there, attached, but like kind of not attached also. It's pretty heavy. So the search has kind of begun for the killer. No one really has much of anything to go on except that, Freddie's torn to pieces. And, I may have missed this, but did...
And he likes the Abdullah oblongata.
Pretty close.
The Thallus Maximus. He's got a hankering for the Thallus Maximus.
Yeah, man. And just to think, a year ago you were an amateur gynecologist. Did Augusta even remember the ship where they found the dead body? Huh?
I've got the badge to prove it.
Oh my God! Did Augusta even remember the ship where they found that dead body gumbo that with all the body parts floating around in it? Because it doesn't really feel like he's giving this murder of the security officer the due regard to the calamity that he's been sent out to dulcify.
You're damn right.
A little more panic.
Sizzlemore's got a mind like a steel trap, Bill. He doesn't forget anything.
I mean, he may not forget anything, but he's definitely not as alarmed as I would be. Maybe I'm just a huge baby, though.
Well, James,
James
and Augusta might be. Well, James, I don't know. You're cut from a different cloth. You're cut from a different cloth, James. You're out there in your buffalo briefs, camping, living amongst the Yeti and the Bigfoot.
Well, I'll tell you, if I run up on a decapitated body, I'll be looking over my shoulder.
Yeah, I would think you would, James, but I don't think that he is giving the proper level of emergency to Freddie's body here, who's been ripped apart after seeing all the body parts floating in the bilge of the ship.
Well, he done shut the museum down and said, "Ain't nobody getting in here. Ain't nobody coming out."
Yeah, but he's going around asking questions to people, and they're worried about, homeless vagrants.
Things out, Bill. You got to ask questions. Just like I did in that game we was playing earlier.
Yes, you did do that, James.
I asked all the right questions, like my boy Sizemore.
Well, we find out that those. No, go ahead, please. By all means, get me off of James.
Did display the proper amount of concern at that dead body, brain removed, blood all over the bathroom? The doctor.
Why don't you answer that, James? I don't think due reverence has been given to what's going on here.
Well, what do you want to happen, Bill?
Everybody fucking panicking.
Excited. People screaming, running out the museum.
Yeah.
They've got they're trying to keep it under wraps, Bill, because they got a big show in the show. A gala, if you will.
I will. Thank you. And we also find out later he did. He did. After he saw it, like 10 minutes later, he got like some notebook paper, wide ruled, and that fat kindergarten pencil, and just started writing his own story.
There are sequels. This is based on a book, and there are like a bunch of sequels. I'm kind of surprised that this movie is a standalone.
I actually took notes on this film. That's the only notes that I took so far, and I just took one note, and it was how to say the name of the monster, and it's like an old car horn. And I wrote that down at work, and that's the only note.
Casey, you ask if James wrote this movie. Well, when we were in 4th grade, we were tasked with writing a story, and I was not a very good creative writer. I was very matter of fact. However, James, in his infinite wisdom, basically copied word for word the story of Maximum Overdrive. And he turned it in, and I read it. I read his book, and when I got to the part where, and then the Coke machine went haywire, I knew we'd been duped.
I made that into a book and everything, Bill.
Where Stephen King failed, you thrived.
I put the string in the spine and everything.
Well, you really pulled the string on him, James.
Made it
God.
hard back.
Oh, yeah, they were bound and everything. But, later on at this point, we find out that those big leaves that Penelope Ann Millard found, I guess that Dr. Whitney had sent in, they have remnants of animal fungus or something. So that scissor that Indiana Jones was sipping on, it's bad business. All right, starting to think this is a little more than a little superstition. So how's this superstition looking now, guys? Not that crazy now, is it?
Not that crazy.
Not that crazy. But
Not like brain removed on the bathroom crazy.
Well, okay. Well, this film does a great job, though, of building up the creature to the point where we're getting big scares before we ever even see it fully. There's a scene where Nellie Ann Miller is strolling through a certain part of the museum. She thinks she's being stalked by something. She hears the heavy breathing, probably feels it chomping at her heels, barely escapes with her life into the restroom, but of course it wasn't the Cathoga. It was an asthmatic member of sanitation. Still, stressful scene. But I think that was strategically done, though, because as she ends up in the restroom. So we think we're going to have the same problems that Officer Fred had early on when he was doing that weed. I think it was a good scene. What are you laughing at, Casey?
Doing weed.
It's
gonna get me every time.
He was doing weed. He was smoking some drugs. He rolled it up and smoked it like a cigarette. So we learned that Shawshank's got some theories on evolutionary biology that states, along with natural selection.
Does he ever?
Oh, he does. There may come a gross species just randomly appears along the way, to which Tom Sizemore asked if any of those rituals that Indiana Jones was studying included ripping out the human hypothalamus. James, the human hypothalamus.
Human hypothalamus.
There you go. Bravo.
What we've got here is a human hypothalamus liquor.
That's right. And because I knew this set of simpletons wouldn't know what that was, I decided to type it in my Google machine. And what I found was the hypothalamus's main role is to keep the body in homeostasis as much as possible. James, when you get hungry, what happens to your stomach?
It starts to grumble.
That's right. That hypothalamus tells it to tell you that you're hungry, so you know to go eat. So feelings of hunger, for example, are the brain's way of letting its owner know that they need more nutrients to achieve homeostasis, balance. So the hypothalamus acts as the connector between the endocrine and nervous systems to achieve this. It plays a part in many essential functions of the body, such as body temperature, thirst, appetite, emotions, Casey, sleep cycles, sex drive, Rick, blood pressure, heart rate, me, production of digestive juices, James, and balancing bodily fluids, all of us.
I've got a lot of juices.
You do, James, and they don't always come out the right place. Not always. So unbeknownst to the city's finest, but knownst to us, there's a creature lurking in the shadows, guys. Two of the investigating officers take down this poor vagrant hiding in the closet of the museum. The worst thing about it, all signs point to him being the killer, right? So he's got some of Freddie Fender's personal effects on him, as well as somebody's from the ship, so all signs are pointing to him. So
they didn't just take him down, they emptied the clip on him.
They emptied the fucking clip, which is not a surprise. I'm not even going to make a social commentary with that, but not a surprise. But, DeGusta's not having it. He's still convinced there's some other fuckery afoot, guys. Have I missed something?
Right.
He is right, but have I missed something, or is this just bad writing? Usually I'd feel like there's a detail that only the investigator and the viewers have seen. But this feels like we want our lead actor to look smart, so we're going to say he isn't satisfied, because in real life, that's a slam dunk. You got murders, you got a guy, you got all the personal effects on him, that's a slam dunk.
But
Bad writing, what say
it's
you?
not enough. I mean, he's right. I agree,
he's
though.
right because he was written to
they
be
could
right.
do something else to clue us in with
There you
him.
go. Thank you. That's all I'm asking. Just give me something else. Give me like a tooth from something that only he
Telephone in the
found.
basement. Why is there a telephone in the sewers directly to the mayor?
Is that not where you keep your telephone to the mayor?
No,
I mean,
keep
this
it next
is no,
to the toilet.
because they wanted a telephone there, James. Okay.
You know, the level of satisfaction that I got
So-
when Dr. Green... What, James?
The guy that comes down there is the guy that plays the high priest in Game of Thrones.
What?
The Citadel guy.
How did I
The
miss
guy
that?
comes out smug and says, "Case closed, Sizemore. Looks like the gala's going on tonight." And then he gets a call from the mayor. He's in Game of Thrones, Bill. He's the High Septon or something.
Well, I guess you're really satisfied with yourself, aren't you?
I recognized him, Bill. I knew he was a crook as soon as he walked in down there.
Well, the level of satisfaction I got when Dr. Green went to Dr. Lee to identify the specimen, it can only be compared to the satisfaction Dr. Lee probably got. So prior to this, Dr. Green smashed what I can only assume was like a Cathoga hatchling. Looks like a giant June bug. I don't know. But it ran out at her.
No.
It was pretty disgusting.
And it's
I think that was
sticky.
a bug that ate some of those leaves and it morphed it into a bigger thing.
You
Agreed.
think so? So nothing to do with well, I mean, don't these things, everything that has come from that, I guess, that part of the world, can we assume that it's all feeding on those leaves and it's making different creatures from that part
Yeah,
of the
the
world?
leaves and the fungus, right? That's what I took it to be.
Well, yeah. I mean, they thought it was blood, and it was really the eggs.
Okay, well, she stayed up all night studying those oozy insides of said creature, and, she got a result that she simply did not know. She had to go to the guy who suddenly seems to be worth his weight in Cathoga guts, Dr. Lee. So he immediately identifies it as a member of the Gecko family. And I feel like this was before Geico, which is not a sponsor of the Slashers and Screamers podcast. Before
Could
Geico
be.
was around. It could be.
Wink.
'Cause I feel like, though, they used the explanation for all the folks who didn't know what a gecko was. Like, did anybody really know what a gecko was before Geico?
I don't remember a time
Richard
before
Gecko?
Geico.
Well, I knew what a gecko was because I was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, and there was a side character named Mondo Gecko. So suck on that, James.
Pepperidge Farm, remember?
Well, even with that...
Ninja Turtles, heroes on a half shell, turtle
Yeah.
power.
So even with the magic indigenous water and the Cathoga and the superstitions, like, is the most unbelievable part of this movie how quickly Penelope Ann Miller gets ready for the party?
Yes, I have
Yeah.
notes about this.
Oh, please.
First of all, who zipped up her dress? I will start there.
I don't know who zipped up her dress. She looks pretty limber. She's a dainty little gal. Maybe she's one of those people that can, like reach over her shoulder and pull her wallet out of her back pocket. I don't know.
She must, because that shit is impossible.
Yeah, I've got
And her
one
hair
spot in the
looked
middle of
good
my back.
immediately.
Well, she pulled it up.
Maybe she tied a string to it before she put the dress on.
Oh.
That is something to consider.
Maybe she called Lieutenant Sizemore over there to help her
He
out.
live out some
busy.
fantasies. Sounds like James has also written some Relic erotica on the side. As Sizemore came in and caressed her milky thighs. Well, we're dropped into the party where they're kind of serving these fancy Lunchables. They're playing some middle school level symphonies. When on the DL, DeGusta's running these dogs through the hallways. All right. Meanwhile, Dr. Green and Dr. Shawshank are getting to the bottom of the biology of it all, and they're finding that the samples scraped from the giant June bug that almost attacked Dr. Green are signs that whatever killed Officer Fred Ford was in need of those hormones found in the human hypothalamus. And they use this word throughout this movie many times, and I don't think I can ever forget it. If I pull nothing away from this movie, it's the human hypothalamus keeps us in homeostasis. Homeostasis? Did I already-
Homeostasis.
Huh?
Homeostasis, you're right.
Okay, thank goodness. Well, we already knew that the victims had parts of their brains gnawed on, but after seeing the number the Cathoga did on the German Shepherds,
Oh my god! You guys didn't tell me we were watching a dog dead movie.
Yeah, Billy, that really kind of upset me that the dogs died. I was like, are you kidding
Only
me?
one. Only one dog died.
There were animals harmed to the filming of this movie.
There were. Well, kind of. But
yeah, the
also,
Cathoga really killed them.
the dogs are named Castor and Pollux, which are based in Roman legacy, lore, I don't know. But it's the Gemini twins. And
Cthulhu.
as a
Twin.
Gemini, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Did you say that the German Shepherds were named Kevin and Pollock?
Castor and Pollux.
Okay.
Cassio and Phyllis.
Pretty much.
So, these are extremely smart pups, German Shepherds are. Consistently in everybody's top 8, top 6 smartest breeds. So, old Cathoga's getting a hold of these things, and he's getting plenty. If this is anything like Jeepers Creepers, and they get power from, like, people's, I guess, strongest assets, and this thing's eating smart dog brains, this thing's probably eating pretty good. So we know that it feeds on the hormones of that specific part of the brain. Well, either way, Casey, Rick, you guys probably need to pull up the parents guide on IMDb next time we watch a movie. That'll tell you if there's any dogs harmed.
Human you know what I'm talking about.
I know, Jane. I know.
Human hypothalamus, because dogs aren't human.
Oh. Well, is there really any proof, though, that it's only human? I think it's still a hypothesis. It's a hypothesis for the human hypothalamus to keep you in homeostasis.
Human hypothalamus?
With Kevin Pollock.
Human hypothalamus gland.
Yeah?
It's human in the name of it, so it's not canine hypothalamus gland.
Well, I think human is just the adjective used, and hypothalamus is the noun.
Stasis.
Well, the real chaos begins when Linda Hunt's character is given the gala tour. She's showing off the Cathoga statue. There's, blood dripping from the ceiling. A headless corpse falls onto one of the exhibits. They're panicking. They lose power. The sprinkler system's activated. Sizemore's running in with the surviving dog, who I guarantee wants no part of this bullshit. People are trampled to death. A lady's crushed between the crowd and the glass window. Everything is going great.
But also the body.
It was like a normal Saturday night.
The body falling to me was very Jurassic Park. Samuel L. Jackson's arm falling.
Samuel L. Jackson gets hurt in Jurassic Park?
His arm, his decapitated arm, goes on the guy's shoulder.
He doesn't survive any creature feature, does he?
Can't speak to everything. Does he survive snakes on a plane?
Was Samuel L. Jackson in this movie?
No, I'm comparing it to Jurassic Park.
God.
Was he in the sewer?
Get these motherfucking leaves out this motherfucking crate.
I'm tired of these motherfucking stinkers in this motherfucking museum.
Well, I feel like whoever directed this movie believes that walkie-talkies work the same as phones, because when DeGusta has the mayor on the walkie, the mayor's talking, and DeGusta just cuts him off like you can do that on a walkie. Like, do walkies not work like I think they do? Like, you can't speak unless the other guy lets go with the button, right?
Yeah, you can't. It's impossible.
Yeah, so the mayor's talking.
That's just something I told you, Bill, when we played those walkie-talkies a long time ago.
Well, it stuck with me, James. You never cut me off because I forgot to let go of the button. And I know that...
Code button, and you'd be like, why won't you talk to me? Beep.
Well, Sizemore is talking. No, the mayor's talking, and then Sizemore hits his button. He's like, I don't give a fuck what you think. So sit down and shut up. Like, you can't do that.
I didn't count at all, but also I don't use walkie-talkies a lot.
Well, you should more often.
You haven't lived.
Oh, you haven't lived.
I mean...
Casey's still using a cup on a string.
Cell phones were more readily available when I was younger than you guys, I think.
You don't know about them.
I got my first one at 22.
I was 12.
Ugh. So,
You don't know about the next telephone.
Dr. Green, Dr. Shawshank, and DeGusta having this very close encounter with the Cathoga, and it's running full speed at them before they can lock the vault door, and it almost knocks the door in, and they're just standing there talking like they see this shit every day. Like, Shawshank says so matter of fact, well, I guess that was the Cathoga. Whitney must have found it. Why didn't he tell us? And then Green breaks out in a 4-H speech about it. There's no sense of panic here. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Nobody is panicked enough in this whole movie.
Well, further perplexing me, once again, after seeing this mythical creature running down the hallway at him, DeGusta's telling his tale of his lucky bullet. These motherfuckers are too calm for me at this point. The people in the museum tour are giving their appropriate panic level because they watched the Cathoga grab a man by his medulla oblongata, James, and they all split, all except Dr. Lee. In the very next scene, Green's going through the DNA of the creature and comes up with the same info that Lee told her earlier, except she didn't give him any credit. She could have been like, like, yeah, this confirms what Lee told me earlier, but no, he dead now. Doesn't matter. Fuck him.
Fuck him.
But you know, the biggest holy shit moment of the movie for me, we're back to the Cathoga, and he's tearing folks, new asshole. We see it jump like really high in the air, snatch this infiltrating soldier off his rappel line, then he knocks another one away with his tail. The craziest part is when we finally see, with no camera cut, full beheading. Like, he snatches up a soldier running away by the shoulders, takes those pincers, and just removes the head clean off. Amazing scene.
It was really cool. I
He's a
liked a
professional,
lot.
Bill.
I liked a lot the face shape on it, that it had like the spider, like arachnid looking face. I thought that was really unsettling, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, let's talk about this creature for a second. Now that we've seen him, head to toe, front to back, bow to stern, whatever, like, how do you really describe this thing? I know he has a forked tongue, and that's kind of sexy. He's got the pincers. He's got like I don't know, what kind of tail has he got? It's like a
alligator type tail, sort of, kind of.
Maybe, yeah, because I mean he's using it to do some damage, right?
Yeah. I just don't get, what is he like? How much lizard is he versus how much man? Like you were saying earlier.
Did you not watch the rest of the movie?
No, I did, but I'm just saying, like,
because we got some pretty close percentages later on, right? I mean, he's like 65% man. Oh, but no spoilers.
He's a man.
We're getting there. Oh God, he's a real
a
man,
man.
isn't he, James? Well, guys, with the highs come the lows. Not long before we lose the beloved Dr. Shawsh.
Tragically. Rip.
Tragic.
Pour one out for a homie.
I don't think I could have taken it. I'm glad it happened off camera.
Me too.
Because they didn't have the decency to put it off camera on Shawshank Redemption.
Well, they kind of did.
Well, yeah, we saw
You
those
just see his feet.
twitching. Yeah, but they're twitching, man. And I didn't like that.
So sad.
Yeah. Well, this thing can snatch a head off with a quickness, but it doesn't seem to be able to take out like large groups, and that's something that I noticed. Like the crew in the waterway. I mean, they were a raft of ducks, and yeah, I looked up the collective noun to refer to a group of ducks.
Oh, I thought you were talking
yeah.
about a raft with ducks on it.
Oh, no. A raft of ducks. See, there's a different collective noun for air, land, and water. So you have a group of ducks on the air, or in the air flying. You got a different word for them. On land, got a different word for them. In the water, a raft of ducks. And there are a couple other words too. I didn't get those.
Well, Dan.
Never knew that.
Well, I'm glad you know now. But, when there's a group of easy targets, the Cathoga only takes out like one or two at a time, right? Like, we don't see him just like going in and just fucking everybody up. He's grabbing one or two, and that's it.
And yet, when we look at everything, when we look at everything, like, when we get down in the lair with the dogs and everything, there's so many people's remains. And he's allegedly only been there, 6 weeks?
Right. So I'm thinking, like, he should be like a bull in a china shop, but he's just cherry picking. I don't like that. I want to see destruction. I want to see him run through a crowd of people and they just go flying. That's what I want. That's the only thing missing, was the real destruction.
That must have been what happened when we weren't looking, if there's that many bodies.
Well, if they can get Tom Sizemore's hair to look like that, they can do anything with this Cathoga. Okay, he has the hairstyle that I kept from ages 2 to 28, and it's a true story. But at this point, the Cathoga drops through the skylight, which is crazy to me. And actually, let me go back a little bit. What's a good horror film without a solid twist? Dr. Green is kind of made to lock herself in her lab for safety reasons by Sizemore, and she gets an alert on her workstation, and it's telling her there's an exact match to the Homo sapien DNA in the sample from before, and I'll be goddamned if it isn't John by God Whitney, the one she's been shitting on this whole time, the one I've been defending. How about that shit?
Indiana Jones came back to bite her in the ass.
Cathoga.
Well, at this point, like we said, Cathoga drops through the skylight, looking for more destruction, or at least one at a time. He's got Dr. Green cornered, dead to rights, fam. Penelope Ann's got her own little alien-esque moment here, right? With the close encounter. Cathoga inches from her face, forked tongue licking her chest, reminiscent of Ripley from Alien, or Aliens. Which one was that?
Aliens.
Yeah. Did anybody else get that vibe?
I did.
Of course you
I
did.
thought old John Whittemore was getting him a taste. John Lee Pettimore was getting a little tasty.
Well, James, unfortunately, I think, didn't you text me something along the lines of, if I don't see Penelope Ann Miller nipples, I'm out?
Oh,
Well, the only nipples you saw, James, were the old indigenous lady at the beginning, and you probably didn't look close enough. Well, Dr. Green narrowly escapes, sets the place ablaze, Cathoga along with it, gets herself to safety, and destroys the Cathoga in the flames. Fantastic visual, though. The inflamed beast chasing Penelope down the little corridor before a narrow escape. I really like
It was
the scene.
definitely it was a good looking scene.
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah. CGI, most definitely, but it wasn't just completely ridiculous. It didn't look like Penelope in front of a green screen. It looked good.
Well, especially
But yeah.
for CGI from 25 years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've got James. What a fun movie, man. You did the damn thing on this one. Really happy to have revisited the Relic.
Movies have been top-notch picks.
Well, James, let's calm down a little bit, okay? You almost put Rawhead Rex on us.
You're going to come up with at the end of this podcast. We'll be
Casey?
watching
Yes.
$1 Million Baby this week.
Not a horror movie.
Casey,
Yes.
let's talk about those Rotten Tomatoes comments.
Let's do exactly that. So, unfortunately, as much fun as I had with this movie, critics did not feel the same, and neither did other audience members. So, if we're looking at the Rotten Tomatoes page for The Relic, 1997, we've got a total score of a 36 with an audience score of a 34. Usually I see audiences rank things higher than critics, so that kind of surprised me. And then, if we're getting into actual reviews, a positive review is a surprisingly entertaining monster on the loose picture set mostly in halls and private passageways of Chicago's Field Museum of Natural History, which is accurate. A negative one is gore seekers only need to know the body count is high and the scares are cheap, as director Peter Hyams shares his beast's repellent disregard for human life. And to that I say, I wish there was more disregard for human life. I want to see more of these deaths that we see the bodies for. The boat basement, all those people. I want to see more of that.
Yeah, that really did feel like what was missing. And there wasn't much missing in this.
Well, and the creature, the Cathoga, is only on screen for 4 minutes, and as cool looking as that thing is, I would have liked to see it more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wanted to see a little bit more on the back end of the movie. The build-up was fine. I felt like I was building up to see something, and then maybe I didn't see everything that there was to offer. Maybe they were looking for a sequel. I don't know. But there was a little
I'll
bit
tell
lacking
you.
on... Tell me, James.
And in the words of old Stan Winston, the monster maker himself, he told the director of this movie, less is more. The only reason you didn't see Jaws and the alien more is because the puppets didn't work. Direct quote.
Direct quote, huh?
Look it up.
Well, guys, let me go ahead and tell you who gets the Hammer Award from this movie.
Is it Tom Sizemore?
It is Tom by God Sizemore. James, we talked about Tom
Sizzle.
Sizemore. Oh, yeah. In order to etch the name correctly.
This is a B movie with a A movie budget with Tom Sizemore shoulder checking everybody. So you better check it out.
James, I couldn't have said it better. Hammer Award, Tom Sizemore, that beautiful creature. And guys, you know what? Let's talk about next week. I've got the
What are you
movie.
watching?
I've got the perfect
He once
movie.
dated Elizabeth Hurley.
Who did?
He's top notch in my book.
Tom Sizemore did.
Who? Tom
asking?
Sizemore did.
I'll be
Not
goddamn.
me.
Well, of course not you. She's beneath you.
That is true.
I did not realize that. I guess the only partner I ever knew for her was old Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant? Does that sound right?
Nobody knows who Hugh Grant is.
I'm sure a couple of people do. All right, movie for next week, guys. I've got the perfect one. I'm pulling it up right now. It is a 2003 French film. Director Alexandre Aja. Starring Cécile de France, Mai Wen, and Philippe Nahon. It is called High Tension.
I love this movie.
Well.
Oh, God.
Of course, I own it, so yeah, major props.
All right.
I have
Best
those
friends.
subtitles in it, Bill.
Yes, but luckily you can read quite
Yeah.
well.
James, usually you
I
can
am
also
watching
find
a
it.
movie.
You can also
with
usually
subtitles
find
in
it
it.
dubbed.
James, don't pussy out and watch the dub version.
Then their lips won't even match.
I'm just offering you opportunities.
Either they speak English or their lips match.
Looks like I'm watching The Witch again.
Best friends Marie and Alexia decide to spend a quiet weekend at Alexia's parents' secluded farmhouse, but on the night of their arrival, the girls' idyllic getaway turns into an endless night of horror. Guys, fantastic movie. I saw it when it was pretty new, if I didn't see it when it was brand new. And I actually got it double dubbed because I saw this movie in Mexico. So I got the Mexican version of Spanish, not even the Spanish version, of the French subtitles of the English translation. So, or I had that backwards. I don't know what I had, but this is a fantastic film. IMDb has it at 6.8 out of 10, which I disagree with that. I give it a solid 8, and I hope you do as well.
I guess we'll find out.
Oh, yeah. So, guys, I guess we can ride off into the sunset and get to work on High Tension. Rick, I know you're going to have fun looking this one up for Rick's rundown.
Hallelujah. E2, Squidward.
For the Godfather of Droll, the Memphis Menace, and the Final Girl, I am Billy Graves. This was the Slashers and Screamers podcast, and we will catch you next week if you survive.